The chain appeared overnight like a dare. Thick links stretched across the only entrance to the lot, cinched tight with a heavy padlock that looked built for warehouses, not neighborhoods. Fresh concrete still held a pale color around two newly planted posts, and a laminated notice swung from the chain as if it had the final word. Ethan arrived expecting routine maintenance: sweep the glass, patch a pothole, repaint a few lines. Instead, he found his property treated like a captured checkpoint. Cars began stacking along the curb, slowing to stare. Drivers confused about why the one overflow option had been sealed shut. The surrounding homes looked perfectly calm, trim lawns and quiet sidewalks, while the parking pressure underneath it all kept tightening. Then a perfect blue and white police SUV rolled in and stopped at the road's edge, police clear on the door. Two officers stepped out, calm and watchful. And Linda Pierce appeared near the neighborhood entrance with uncanny timing, curly golden hair catching the sun, pink blazer crisp, clipboard held like authority itself. Ethan stayed still, eyes on the lock, realizing the conflict had crossed into something public and dangerous in a quiet way. A power grab performed with witnesses. 2 years earlier, Ethan's life moved at a slower pace, anchored by a bittersweet inheritance. His grandfather had owned a small commercial parcel for decades, once home to an auto repair shop, long before developers wrapped the surrounding land into a planned community with an HOA. When the neighborhood went up, it grew around that lone parcel, leaving a paved rectangle right by the entrance to the community and the main road. After his grandfather passed, the building was already gone, but the lot remained: cracked asphalt, faded striping, and enough space to absorb a real parking problem. Ethan had no immediate plans to develop it. He was grieving, working, and trying not to make major choices too quickly. Residents began using the empty lot as overflow parking because the neighborhood's street rules were strict, driveways were short, and garages were often packed with storage instead of vehicles. Ethan allowed it without hesitation. He patched holes, repainted lines, hauled trash, and even put up a small sign welcoming parking. It cost him time and money, but it felt like continuing his grandfather's quiet relationship with the community. For a while, it worked so smoothly that the lot became a pressure valve for everyone's daily life, until leadership changed and kindness started getting treated like weakness. Linda's first move was not a conversation. It arrived as paperwork designed to intimidate. A formal notice landed in Ethan's mailbox listing violations: unapproved surface materials, unapproved signage, missing architectural approval. The tone carried the certainty of enforcement, as if printing an accusation created ownership. Ethan responded like a careful property owner. He gathered the deed, the parcel map, and the HOA's own list of covered properties. His lot was not included. It was commercial, separately deeded, and older than the community itself. He sent copies back, expecting the facts to end the matter. Instead, another letter arrived, sharper and more personal, insisting that anything inside the community boundary belonged under HOA control. A colored map shaded Ethan's lot, the same as HOA parcels, trying to turn a highlighter into a land transfer. He contacted the management company and received polite acknowledgement, but the campaign continued. A final warning was taped to his friendly parking sign, threatening daily fines. It was public, meant for residents to see, and it reframed Ethan from helpful neighbor into a problem. The line had been crossed. The HOA wasn't just complaining, it was attempting to rewrite a boundary. The next pressure wave came through the city, where accusations become records even when they are wrong. A complaint was filed, claiming Ethan was running an unlicensed commercial parking operation. Code enforcement arrived, listened, reviewed the deed, and closed the case quickly. But the damage was in the disruption. It created a paper trail, and it suggested to residents that something about the lot was suspicious. Then flyers began appearing on windshields, warning that parking there carried risk, hinting at towing, legality, and safety without offering real facts. Anxiety spread faster than truth. Drivers who had parked there for months suddenly felt watched. Ethan kept the lot clean and kept answering questions, repeating the same reality. The HOA did not own the parcel. But communities trained by strict rules often fear the threat more than they trust the explanation. Linda escalated again through an attorney letter, presenting two demands: submit to HOA compliance or stop allowing residents to park. Ethan's legal advice was blunt. The HOA's position had no ground. Then a strange calm settled in. Weeks passed. No flyers. No new letters. The silence almost felt like the end, until Ethan drove in one Saturday morning and saw the chain across his entrance. The chain was not just a barrier. It was a statement of ownership written in metal. Fresh concrete around the posts showed planning, not impulse. The lock was placed at eye level, meant to be seen, meant to humiliate. A laminated notice claimed HOA authority as if a board vote could replace a deed. Linda arrived with confident posture, pink blazer bright against gray asphalt, her expression loaded with certainty. Ethan felt the consequences sharpen immediately. If the HOA could install hardware on his land, what would stop it from escalating again? Another closure, more harassment, more official notices designed to confuse residents into compliance. Doing nothing would turn this stunt into precedent. The police SUV sat in the background, blue and white, police visible, officers calm but present. Their presence did not validate the HOA. It proved how far the situation had been pushed. Ethan documented everything: the posts, the lock, the damage to the asphalt, because he understood the pattern. This was no longer about parking etiquette. It was a control play, and Ethan's willingness to absorb inconvenience for the community had reached its limit. The officers reviewed Ethan's documentation and treated the HOA claim for what it was: a civil dispute with ugly edges. No one removed Ethan from his own property. What mattered was the quiet clarity that installing structures on land the HOA did not own carried real liability. After they left, Ethan filed a report about the damage and removed the chain. The sound of the lock giving way wasn't dramatic, but it felt final. That night, he spread every piece of paper across his kitchen table and saw the same theme repeated. Linda had labeled the lot commercial. Linda had accused him of operating without a license. Linda's attorney had demanded an end to free parking. The solution wasn't a shouting match. It was precision. Ethan applied for a legitimate commercial parking permit. He insured the lot. He registered the business properly. He replaced the handwritten welcome sign with a professional metal sign, announcing the lot as a licensed paid facility. Then he set up a simple registration system. Vehicles tied to HOA addresses triggered a daily fee, while non-HOA users could register and park free. It wasn't chaos. It was malicious compliance built like a clock. The neighborhood's reaction was immediate and intense. Residents who had relied on Ethan's lot for years suddenly faced daily costs, and many had no alternative. Street restrictions and short driveways boxed them in, and life kept producing extra cars, teen drivers, visitors, family schedules that didn't fit into a two-car garage. Vehicles kept coming, and the totals piled up. Ethan didn't hide the reason. When asked, he showed the paper trail. The city complaint that labeled the lot an unlicensed business, the attorney letter that demanded the free arrangement end, and the chain installation that damaged the property. The anger that might have landed on Ethan shifted toward the HOA leadership that created the problem. An emergency HOA meeting followed, and the story became numbers. Money spent on a fight that could never be won, and money now spent by residents because intimidation had replaced cooperation. Linda's authority collapsed under evidence and arithmetic. A new HOA president, Mark Rivera, approached Ethan with a different energy: accountability, practicality, and a desire to end the bleeding. Ethan negotiated a lease: predictable monthly income, fewer daily headaches, and clear maintenance terms. The lot that once cost him money now paid him back, turning inherited grief into stability. And it left one question that never stops mattering in neighborhoods like this: how many HOAs are one ego away from creating the very crisis they claim to prevent?